Welcome to another episode of Out of the Pods. I'm Deep Tea.
And I'm Natalie, and happy Wednesday. You know what's so crazy about saying happy Wednesday? We're going back to our Monday schedule in 2 weeks because Love is Blind US Season 7 is coming out next Wednesday. Like, how crazy is that?
I know, so don't get used to our Wednesday episodes.
I know.
We're swinging right back into it to Monday.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Our whole lives has been Love is Blind so far. The fact that Love is Blind UK just ended, we had some really cool interviews with Sabrina and Ella from that season. And the fact that we're getting right into season 7 of the US version, like, it's nonstop.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of excited about it. At first, when Love is Blind used to come out, I used to get super anxious about it. But these days, I feel like we're so far removed from everything that I'm like, oh, another season, another shitstorm. Here we go. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So when season 3 came out, I remember feeling so much anxiety because, you know, our season 2 had just come out like, 5 or 6 months prior to season 3. And so just like watching another set of people going through like so much crazy shit. It really was trauma inducing.
Yeah, especially because after the altar happened for us, remember? And those episodes had just aired. We're like, oh my God, I'm tense right now. How are we going to have other people experience the same type of like, I don't know, stress, I guess you could say. Can you believe it's been so long? It feels like it hasn't been that long since our season came out, but it's been
2.5 years.
Yeah.
I know.
And like 5-6 more seasons after us.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. Well, we're answering burning questions today, so we'll get into those at the end of this episode. But one of the burning questions was like, how many seasons have been filmed for Love is Blind, at least the US version? And so obviously season 7 is coming out next week, but I think that there's like 2-3 other seasons that are in the queue.
No, absolutely. And also, do you remember Chelsea from season 4? Is she from season 4?
Kwame's wife?
Yes. Kwame's wife. So she works with Kinetic on casting, and I follow her, and randomly she'll post like casting calls, and she had 4 of them up of different cities that she's casting for.
That is so
And I was
crazy.
like, oh my God, this franchise is not going to end anytime soon.
No,
you can tell.
No. They're going to hit every city in the US.
It's going to be like Bachelorette.
Oh, yeah.
What season are I don't even know, 20 plus seasons.
Yeah, they're like 27, 28. It's so crazy.
Oh, man.
Before we get into anything though, I feel like we have to share our thoughts on last week's interview we did with Ella. So if you guys haven't listened to that episode, Ella is a cast member from Love is Blind UK. She got engaged on the season, but she wasn't on the show. So like producers decided to not follow her storyline with her fiance Jake, who is now dating Catherine from the main cast.
Which is why this story is so juicy.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I had no idea what Ella was going to say in the interview. But when she started breaking down the timeline of when Catherine messaged Jake, I don't know. Like, I was like not really clocking it at the time. But now re-listening to that interview, I realized how shady that was. That Catherine messaged Jake.
I don't know. I'm so indifferent because I do think there's 2 sides to the story, right?
Totally.
And like we said in that interview with Ella, sometimes things can be very platonic. And it's like, hey, I'm just reaching out just to see how it is. Like, I don't know. It's a little iffy for sure.
Yes. Why are you messaging this guy you have not met before?
Yeah.
Like, and who is now engaged? Like, why did Catherine message Jake? Why didn't she message Ella to see if she was okay? So just going back and providing some context, Catherine said in her interview with Cosmopolitan UK that she messaged Jake 5 weeks, like, I don't know, starting from some point. And then she went over to his house and that was it. What Ella is saying is based on when she saw photos of Jake and Catherine on a date, you know, based on what Catherine said, they must have been messaging 5 weeks prior to that, which means she was messaging Jake when he was still engaged to Ella. Here's my thing though. Catherine says she messaged Jake because she just wanted to check in on him because, you know, he was, you know, I think in like a dramatic storyline is what she said or something like that. And I was like, why are you messaging a guy you don't know, you've never seen before, and then you see a social media and now you decide to message him? Why not message Ella? That's someone you know.
That's
from the pods.
Yeah. Okay. Can I be very candid? Because okay, if I'm gonna say,
I love when Deepti's like, can I be very candid?
Yeah,
like,
because
yes,
this is gonna put me in a position where I'm being vulnerable with my thoughts.
Okay.
Because it doesn't paint me in the best light. But after the whole situation, we're human. After the situation with Shake went down, right?
Okay.
I was feeling very low and insecure about myself. And I reached out to Kyle. It was me who did it because I connected with him in the pods and I was like, why not reach
While
out?
you were engaged to Shake, though?
No. This was post. But it does make me feel a little like, Deeps, like, why did you do that? Because my engagement with Shake had just ended, but I was feeling like very low. And I don't know, half of me was like, let me try to see like what the options are.
Yeah.
Like, I really connected with Kyle. Let me just like reach out to him. But then there was also another side of me where it's like, now looking back, like, was I just feeling insecure and needed like a little ego boost or like someone to talk to? And
we all do it.
We do. And in my opinion, I feel like maybe potentially Catherine was kind of feeling the same way. Obviously, I don't know her. I would not know what her feelings are. But that whole situation with Freddie was a little like stressful and traumatic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, totally.
And I feel like maybe that's why she kind of reached out to Jake, being like, "Oh, you're cute. Like, let me just check out the options."
Well, that's the issue because he was engaged to Ella.
But can I ask you, where do you draw the line? Because technically, Jake wasn't pursuing things with Ella. So
no,
like,
he was when she initially sent the DM. So that's what Ella was saying in the interview. She saw the photos and they had broken up. Her and Jake had broken up a few weeks prior. But if she goes based on what Catherine said in her very public interview with Cosmopolitan UK.
It was very public.
She said she started messaging Jake 5 weeks prior before they met.
Okay, my interpretation from the interview was different. I thought they hung out after they broke up.
She saw the hangout, but what Catherine said was she started messaging Jake 5 weeks prior to them hanging out. So she sent that DM when Jake was still engaged to Ella. Yeah. So if you know what you're saying is like maybe she was feeling low, like then that means she messaged.
Listen, we're all human.
That means she messaged though an engaged man for comfort or whatever, or like to pursue it. Like, I don't think it might have been a really like platonic message, but I don't think there was platonic intentions behind it.
Yeah, it grew into something. So it seems fishy.
I think your situation is fine because you were single. Yeah. Kyle was single.
True.
But in Catherine's situation, she may or may not have been single. I don't know, like, you know, when her wedding day with Freddie was or whatever. But let's say she was single. Yeah. When she messaged Jake was not single. He was engaged to Ella. And I feel like Catherine was very much aware. We're wasting so much time on this, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it just was like, at first I was like, oh, well, maybe it was like a platonic message. But now thinking about it, I'm like, wait a minute. Like
the timelines do seem
like
to
Catherine's
overlap.
Being kind of sketch.
Yeah, the timelines do seem like they're overlapping quite a bit. And obviously, since the interview has come out, both Catherine and Jake have messaged us and have been wanting to like kind of explain the situation or come on the podcast to kind of explain it. But
well, Jake really said fake news. And I was like, what is
that? Was aggressive.
And I was like, Jake, oh, who are you, Trump? Aren't you based in the UK? I was like, what do you mean? What is fake news?
Dude, I can see what Ella was saying when she was like, Jake was being a little aggressive to me in his messages, because that was the tone that I also perceived when he messaged us.
I mean, our social media manager told us about it and sent us some screenshots. So I haven't like seen them myself, but I went to go check and he unsent all the messages. So, you know, I think he definitely, I don't know, it gave the vibe like he's definitely also someone who like kind of like messages off in anger and then had to like take a step back and unsend them.
Yeah. Listen, I'm like not quick to judge unless I know all the angles of things. Yeah. But at the same time, it'll become like a he said, she said, or in this case, she said, she said. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's just too much because both parties are happy in their own relationships. So it's like, whatever.
One thing, though, where I do feel like there is some validity to, I don't know, the whole Catherine Jake timeline being really sketchy is because Freddie has been liking the clips of Ella from our podcast, specifically the clips of where she's talking about how the timeline is sketchy.
Yeah. Also,
and I was like, well, you know.
One of our listeners also sent in a message saying that on Reddit, there's speculation that Freddie blocked Catherine because she cheated on him. Again, I have no idea if there's any validity to that, but someone sent us that and I was like, what is happening?
Like, as it relates to the Jake thing. So, like, he blocked Catherine because he
of the
feels
Jake
that,
situation.
yeah. Interesting.
But again, Reddit is a devil's playground. So
A
who
devil's
knows
playground.
what is true and not on that platform. So
wow. Well, who knew there was so much drama around that whole situation?
Listen, we do. After our season, it was the same shit. Like,
Yeah.
so much drama goes on post show. And that's why I feel like there's just so many stories that unfold after the fact. And like so many revelations come out about people's character, you know, who they dated, what restraining orders they have. There's just so much that comes out.
100%. No, I agree. I feel like a lot of people don't know the importance of a good credit score. I didn't realize how important it was until probably my mid-20s when I realized, okay, the higher my credit score, I can get lower rates on loans for a car or home. I'm also a renter. I've always had a credit check run in each apartment I've applied to, and it really matters when it comes to renting. So that was my point where I was like, okay, I have to get serious and in control of my finances. And you all can take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account.
I like Chime so much. With a Chime checking account, there's no monthly or maintenance fees. You can overdraft up to $200 with no fees, and your next deposit is applied to your balance. You can get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit, and you can have access to over 50,000 fee-free ATMs.
So make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/outofthepods.
That's chime.com/outofthepods. Chime feels like progress.
Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank NA or Stride Bank NA, members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. Well, let's get into Love is Blind season 7 because that is right around the corner, literally in a week.
Dude, Washington, D.C. I am actually really excited about Washington, D.C.
So I was really excited. I thought some politicians would be on this cast.
I was going to say
I was like, some CIA agents.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, who knows?
Some undercover cops, something.
Undercover cops. You could find undercover cops anywhere. But I was really like, maybe we'll see some, like, I don't know, like Secret Service agents, like some FBI agents, anyone who works for the NSA. I was like, really?
The FBI agents.
A senator? I was like, a senator? Maybe the president?
A future president?
Joe Biden could have been on this season.
Oh boy, could you imagine? His wife would not be happy about that.
Exactly.
No, but the FBI agents that watch us could have been on there.
That's what I was thinking. You know, the FBI agent that's always looking at me through my phone and computer. I was like, he could be on this season.
That would be the plot twist of the century.
I know. He's like, I know Natalie, like, very deeply.
I will spill your secrets if you say anything on the podcast about me.
Exactly. But I was kind of disappointed to see it was people with just regular jobs you could find anywhere in the US, like real estate agent, you know, a marketing manager. Even though those are really good, cool jobs, I was like, I mean, you could live in Chicago and be those things.
I feel like it says a lot about people who like might want to be politicians or senators. I don't think they would be doing Love is Blind. That's a bad look for them if you think about it.
I don't know. I feel like Freddie from Love is Blind UK can now run for president.
Okay. He's part of the parliament.
Or like a prime minister role in the UK. And I would vote for him. I feel like he would actually
Are you doing that
win.
Solely based on looks?
No, personality. Like he has won my vote. He's trustworthy. But anyway, so I'm like, you know, I don't know, like not even a congressman, not even a congressional aide.
No, honestly, it makes sense to me. I don't think any of those professions would want to go on a show like this.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
I did see that there was a pair of sisters on the show, Tara and Nina.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Also, what a crazy thing that they casted both sisters? Like, did they just apply together?
Wait, imagine if you did the show with your sister. I'd be like,
you too. I'd be like, are we gonna date the same people? What if we like the same person? That would be wild.
A little piece of my soul would literally fly away.
And I would have to give up my person because I'm like, obviously my sister is a better human than me.
Have you ever seen Hamilton the musical?
No. Remember we were supposed to go to it? I have not seen it yet.
In the musical, there are these trio sisters called the Schuyler sisters.
Okay.
And
you better not be giving me any spoilers right now.
Really, like, you won't be spoiled. It's like, so it's just history, okay?
I'm watching history. Okay.
So anyways, Angelica, the oldest sister, falls in love with Alexander Hamilton.
Okay.
But she ends up like letting her sister Eliza have him. This is all in the musical. Ooh. I don't know if it actually happened in history or if it's like allegations. Even though she like loves Alexander Hamilton, she's like, I love my sister more.
Oh, yes.
Wait, and I was like,
so sweet.
Sick. That's what I thought about that moment in Hamilton. Sick. When I saw the two sisters that are going to be on this season.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if they go anywhere.
I don't think they do. I didn't see them in the trailer that came out a few days ago that shows the people who are going to make it past the pods, who are actually going to like film and be part of the season.
The trailer looked so good. Like, it was so good.
It was so good. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I saw my girl Taylor on there. When I say my girl, I don't know her, but she is.
I was like, who? We have a friend named Taylor.
But I know that she is Asian or half Asian.
Oh, love.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'd love that representation. I'm so glad you have made it through.
I know.
Because not a lot of us do.
Honestly, on Love is Blind UK, I was really sad to not have Priya move forward. I was like, where is she? She didn't even have like a millisecond, I feel like, on the show. Know. So we love representation.
Actually, that was kind of weird, thinking back to Love is Blind UK, that they really didn't show a lot of the other cast. I mean, they did show like Charlotte and obviously Tosh. But beyond that, I feel like on our season, you still saw like a lot of snippets of the broader cast. And you didn't really see it on Love is Blind UK.
No,
so I'm curious if they're going to, continue that for
I feel like it's always like season dependent, meaning like it's always what kind of drama happens and does it make sense to introduce those new characters or not. But we'll have to see.
But anyways, going back to Taylor, she makes it through. I think she's so cute. I know people are like, why do you care if there's East Asian representation? I do care.
Why would we not care?
I know. I gotta look out for my community, okay? Like, I feel like when my parents were shown on our season, people were like, oh my gosh, parents who aren't tiger parents. And I was like most Asian parents aren't like tiger moms and dads. Yeah. Like, and I love when people who look like me are on TV breaking those stereotypes.
Totally agree with you. I think it was the same for me too, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's Indian. Why is she doing a show like this? Yeah. But it's like, I'm just a normal person that can be of any background, and also I always say I'm like an intertwined of two cultures, which is so true because I'm not just one thing, right?
Totally.
But it's the same thing. I think that growing up, we never saw people who look like us on television, and especially reality TV. I think that's like such a new space to be in. Yeah. Probably because Asians are like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, shit. Like I'm not bringing dishonor to my family.
Exactly.
Because that's what I thought.
And we were really careful not to do that.
I mean, well.
Except for episode 3, when the makeout session, that was really bad.
I mean, when Shane used to talk about our XXX life way too much, I literally want to die inside.
Yes. Dude, that was the one thing I was so happy Shake and I agreed on, that we wouldn't talk about our sex life like that. And
Shane and I did agree on it, but then I saw the show and I was like, what are you talking about?
I don't know what's worse, talking about the sex life or saying I'm not attracted to my fiance though.
I don't know. After the whole sex life thing came out, I could not go to my parents' church. I was like, you know what? I was like, I just feel like if you're Korean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. when it's like, it's so taboo to talk about that stuff in like the immigrant community, Korean community. And so I was like, I gotta stay hidden.
See, but that's why it's so important that you did it, because you do not have to be shamed.
No, I didn't do it. Shane did it.
Well, yes, but you were attached. So
like-
byproduct, you're like, oh, so
By
you picked
affiliation.
him? They're like, ma'am? No.
But I'm very
that's
curious
funny.
to see, what kind of edit Taylor gets. I'm also okay when like Asians are villains because I think it shows that we're like multifaceted people. Like you're not just gonna get like this quiet, submissive Asian woman, okay?
If anyone knows Natalie, she is anything but quiet. In the nicest way, obviously.
No,
but you have personality.
DT goes in the nicest way.
No, it is.
5 seconds later.
Oh, really? But I'm glad you're not shy and quiet because, you wouldn't be Natalie.
Thank you. I feel like we wouldn't have a podcast. I would say 2 peeps. I'd be like, hello.
You're like, hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie.
I'm glad our heads were in the same space there. But anyways, I'm very excited for this new season. I can't believe it's already going to be here next week.
I know. Crazy. I cannot wait.
I know.
Who's going to be the next, I don't know, like a villain, social media star? I mean, those are the things that I like really try to look for is like not what's happening during the show, but end of the show.
Yeah.
Like who is the person that got the worst edit ever? Who's the person that is like the star of the season? And who's just going to like take this entire experience and just run with it and become an influencer.
And and who's deserving of it all.
Yes.
Or undeserving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Even though I'm not in school anymore, fall still feels like the beginning of a new year. We are finally getting some beautiful, crisp fall weather, which means I'm starting my annual rewatch of my favorite fall TV show, Gilmore Girls. There's also a new season of Love is Blind, and with all this new coming, I definitely don't want to miss out on anything, and that applies to theater too. To find the latest shows on Broadway and on stages in other cities, I always look at what Today Tix has to offer.
So Deepti and I have actually used Today Tix several times this summer. So we recently went to a live comedy show at the Laugh Factory, but also I'm really excited because I love a spooky mood. So I want to go see Into the Woods at the Chopin Theater. So this app is super easy to use. You just find your show, pick your seat, and check out in just a few taps. Plus, your phone is essentially your ticket.
Yes, it's so hassle-free. To find a show for you, go to todaytix.com/outofthepods and use promo code outofthepods to get $20 off your first Today Tix purchase.
That's promo code outofthepods at todaytix, tix.com/outofthepods, todaytix.com/outofthepods.
Well, Pod Besties, it is time for our favorite segment. It's Burning Question Series time. I love this segment. One, because it kind of gets us a little bit more connected to our audience, I feel like, and our listeners, because it's all the questions that you guys have asked us and are wanting to know. So,
I know.
Okay, our first question. Do you reach out to contestants or do they reach out to you?
I feel like this question is probably asking like about coming on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like most of our guests have reached out to us to come on. I feel like for Love is Blind UK, specifically Sabrina, we asked her, but like we were chatting it up. But one thing I will say, and Pod Besties, you guys already know this, but I would say most, if not all of the cast for each Love is Blind season listen to our podcast and will DM us like being like, you need to clarify this, or like, this isn't how it actually happens. Like, here's what happened, like things like that. So in that way, that's how the conversation starts of like, do you want to come on? Or, they'll want to.
Yeah. Or sometimes when we just love somebody so much, we're like, oh my God, I love you. And then it just kind of escalates.
Yeah. But even our favorites, like sometimes we know it's not going to make a good interview, or they're kind of like, I don't want to say so much because I already got a really good edit on the show and I don't want to say something out of turn that will like cause confusion. So we do get that too. Okay, next question. Most entertaining first date, early dating questions in the pods.
I'm trying to think of whomst. I would say my most awkward was Shake. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I believe it.
Actually, it was. I actually did not like him at all. No, I would say this wasn't like a first date, but it was early on in the pods. But I remember all the girls were talking about how Sal sang to them and serenaded them.
Shut up.
And I was pissed. I'm just kidding. I wasn't pissed. But I was like very upset because Sal was up there for me. I was like, Sal, why didn't you serenade to me? And I was like very disappointed and sad about it. Wait. Is that weird? I was like, how dare you not serenade to me? And you know what he said to me?
What?
He was like, our conversations flow so well. I didn't need to serenade you because it wasn't awkward. That's like being like, it's not you, it's me.
Wait, can I tell you a really funny story? Yes. And I feel like I shouldn't tell this story. So before we were going to film our reunion, and you know how we were able to watch the episodes in advance, like in the hotel room?
Yeah. I
was in the same hotel as Mallory, and she texted me. She's like, can I watch the episode with you? Because this has been really hard for me.
Yes.
So we watched the last 2 episodes. And we see the scene where Sal is serenading Mallory, where he sings that song, "You're hot like Beyonce."
I know exactly what you're talking about.
With his ukulele. And Mal is crying because she's so touched watching that scene. And I am scream laughing. I was like, Mal, you can't be serious. I was like, this literally gives me the ick. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I was like, how did you keep a straight face in this scene? I would have literally been like, throw that ukulele. Throw that ukulele away.
It's in the moment. In the moment, it's very special. But watching it back, I'm like, whoa.
No, even when she was watching it, she thought it was so special. But I was like, Mal, how did you not like burst out laughing or just like die inside?
Well, you know what? When you like somebody, that aura is just very strong around
That's when
them.
I was like, wow, Mal, you really, really did like Sal. I was like,
this story makes me even more upset that he didn't sing to me. How dare he?
I couldn't. And I don't mean to be mean, but you know when you just like, I don't know, like I've been serenaded before and it makes me feel so awkward. And when I say I've been serenaded before, not by a lover, but by this brand who sent me singers to my apartment.
Oh my God, I remember this first. I know
and
exactly.
I didn't know, like, I was like, do I make eye contact with them? And I kept just like laughing. I was like, haha. Like,
honestly, that was so awkward when that happened. I remember I just like videoed them the whole time to avoid the awkwardness. I was like, okay, you're in the lobby with like lots of people watching. I was about to say millions of people. It was exaggeration.
It was a Taylor Swift concert. But no, I just couldn't. I wouldn't know what to do with my face.
Yeah.
But good for Mal.
That's actually so funny. Okay, Natalie, have you been dating anyone else after that awful New York boy?
I have. I've been put on a lot of blind dates by friends. I don't know why. Well, probably because I'm like one of the few single ones left. And yeah, it's been really fun. There's been some bad ones. I think my standards are now so high.
As they should be.
Not like about how someone looks physically, but just now, you know, like how they act. They're just their characteristics, their personality, just everything. It's just like I'm being so particular now because I'm so jaded and I just don't want to go through what I went through with my previous exes. Yeah. Next question. Have any LIB men slid into your DMs like romantically?
No, I don't think so. Have they for you?
This would actually surprise people, but I did have someone from another season, another man, who slid into my DMs asking me to lunch in LA.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And he made jokes that it was a date, but like I couldn't gauge it. I was all like, is this platonic or a date? But he kept saying like, oh, like it, like when we made the plans, he's like, okay, it's a date. And then we got there and I was like, do I act like like flirty or friendly? And it really just didn't end up going anywhere.
It's hard when someone's like, it's a date. And I'm like, do you mean that as it's an actual date? Or, you know, like the saying when they're like, it's a date.
Yeah. But yeah, I was kind of surprised at that one. It's really someone no one would expect.
I wish I didn't know, but I know.
Yeah, but you know. Actually, this next one's for you. Deep D, would you consider dating apps again? They can work eventually.
I was actually talking to a few of my friends and they have had so much success on dating apps.
Yeah, same with my friends.
And they've found their person. And I don't know, I'm really considering going back into it. But it's just hard because I'm like, I just know myself. And on dating apps, I don't take them seriously. Like I use them for an ego boost and then I'm kind of like over it. Because men on there, I feel like are just so like.
I feel like some men are using it for the same way. So sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
To like find really serious suitors on that app.
Exactly. Oh, can I tell you something hilarious that happened to me?
What?
So I go back to my parents' house a lot. They live in the suburbs of Chicago. One of my mom's like neighbors apparently reached out to her and was like, hey, I want to set you up on a date with this doctor.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, I'm like, is this count as like an arranged marriage? Or
I love it. I love it. Can you imagine being married to a doctor and you're like, ow, my arm hurts, and you just check it right there and then?
Or he's like, a different type of doctor that can't really do that.
Oh, yeah.
But who knows?
But he'll have a friend that he could text.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I was like, you know what? I should take her up on this.
Yeah.
Because that would be nice.
Okay.
And honestly, that energy is coming because of you too, I think, because you've been on a lot of like setups. And I feel like I'm like, why am I fighting it? Maybe my mom is the way to finding my person.
Exactly.
Who knows? She knows me best,
Yeah.
So, okay, this was a fun one. If you could date anyone from the LIB seasons, who would it be and why?
Wow, this is really hard.
This is a loaded question.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I'm asking you.
Wait, who would you date?
Well, I asked you first.
Okay, this question is for the both of us, okay?
This is a hard one. Shane. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh.
Just kidding. I just wanted to see your reaction. Immediate ick. I got it.
I know. I was like, okay. I would have been like, have fun.
Across all seasons. Wow. Does this include the UK season?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No. I don't know.
I would do Freddie.
I would say Freddie. That's why I asked about the UK. He just seems like such a good guy.
I one time had a dream that I was dating Freddie.
Freddie will make a clip out of this, and if he likes it, on or out of the pod's Instagram page.
No. I've done long distance before, but I can't do a different time zone like that.
Not across the pond. I feel like
I can't do like across multiple oceans. Like
it's only one ocean.
But here's the thing. It switched between Freddie and Tom. It was like very confusing. And trust me, I don't think it's like I was in Love is Blind UK.
Like, is this like a throuple type of situation?
Like it started with Freddie and it was Freddie's face. And then it's like I was still with the same person. I was still dating the same person, but it was Tom.
You like woke up next to him and you're like, oh, it's Tom.
And I was like, what the heck? I woke up and I was like, I need to stop watching this show.
I need to stop researching about what's happening.
I was like, I can't recap this. I can't recap this show anymore.
That's so funny.
I know. I never told you about it because it was like so stupid. It was just like a dumb dream. But
yeah, I would have been like, can't wait to spill that on the podcast.
I remember waking up and being like, oh, I was like, I'm so over this show.
Well, get ready because there's another season coming.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'd say Freddie.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is a good one from one of our pod besties. What do you two fight about? Any big disagreements or blowouts, and how do you resolve it? We never fight or have blowouts.
No, never.
But we do have disagreements.
Yeah, which is, I think, normal and healthy.
Yeah. Never about things personally, but when it comes to the direction we want to go with our podcast, like we'll be like, we should mention this. And one of us might be like, no, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Or like we should put this social media clip out there, and it's typically deeply saying like, no, are you kidding? Like it's gonna cause a controversy.
But I think that's why I love us so much, because I think it's very healthy that we have those disagreements, because we're two very different people.
Yes.
And Natalie's more A type A.
I'm more type A,
and I'm very much more like chill, relax type. But I think healthy communication really gets us through a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like we're very honest with each other, even when it's difficult. And I think that's like very positive for us.
Yeah. So I would say it's like less of disagreements, but I'll disagree with the path forward, but we'll always compromise or just be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like if it's not important enough.
Yeah.
So,
love it.
But yeah, how we resolve it is, I don't know. I feel like
communication really is like key for any relationship, I feel like, and friendships. Like, I feel like when it comes to it's hard when you're business partners as well as friends, sometimes it's like a hard balance. But I think communication is really the biggest thing, the key.
And I'd say like we never take things personally. So if I ever put an idea out there and Deep D disagrees with me, I never take it personally because I know Deep D wants the best for this podcast. So she's disagreeing with me or pushing back because we want the same thing. Like what's the best? So like I never take it personally and I'm like, okay, I see your point. And like we'll either try to compromise or just like not do it.
Yeah. I feel like and vice versa. Truly. Yeah. You said it perfectly.
And then I think as best friends, we never fight or disagree personally.
The biggest fight we've ever had, I think, is when you hated Kyle.
Oh, yes.
And that wasn't even a fight. That was just like, okay, this
DT was like, well, I won't be talking to Kyle. I won't be talking about Kyle to you. But yeah, like personally, we never fight. I think that we're pretty easygoing in that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. When do they film confessionals? Is it during filming?
Yes, it is during filming. Wow, the worst parts of filming. No,
I know.
Because they block off like certain periods of time for you to go and sit down in the exact same outfit every single time, down to like the jewelry you're wearing.
Yeah.
And you, as you're going through filming the entire series, you go in and you have a blocked off time to basically do your confessionals or your interviews. Sometimes they'll do on the flies,
yeah.
And that's like essentially right after a scene, they'll pull you and your partner aside and just kind of like ask for your thoughts and like, you know, backstories, anything like that. But yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah. So it happens throughout filming. I would say it happens like once a week. But when you're in the pods, I think I got pulled for confessionals every day.
Yeah, I think I did too, basically.
What's really tough though is like you have a final confessional after your wedding day.
Yes.
And so they're asking you questions of what happened throughout all of filming. So it's tough because like your memory is kind of hazy by that point and you just went through, well, if you don't get married, you just went through like one of the worst days of your life. And yeah, it's just like a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. For me, I think it was more like therapy for me because I was like, okay, let me like process these emotions. But I remember ours was back to back.
Yeah.
Remember a cute pic that we took at the very end?
That was my final confessional.
Yes, mine too. It was so cute.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, end of this chapter.
Yeah. So when I was ending my confessional, Deep D was coming in for hers. It was like in the studio set they set up in Chicago. And I had a really tough one. They were asking me questions about Deep D, just being like, why are you so jealous of Deep D? Like, do you think Shane has a crush on Deep D? And I was like, huh?
Yeah, I was like, what? I remember we were talking about that too.
Yeah.
You were like, let me know if they ask you weird questions like that. And I was like,
because I was like, wait,
what is happening?
I was like, what do you mean? No, I'm not. I was like, Deep D's one of my friends. Why would I be jealous of her?
First of all, we never even overlapped any storylines.
I think what they were doing is trying to gather content in case they wanted to give me a villain edit. And I think they knew you were going to get a very strong edit just based on what had happened during filming to you. Yeah. So it was like, just in case we want to pit Natalie against Deep D, like, here's how we would do it.
Yeah. They were exploring all avenues and making sure they had footage for every scenario.
Yes, exactly. Okay, next question. Did you guys ever end up freezing your eggs? Are you guys still considering it?
Oh, this is a fun
timely
one. Yeah. Yeah, we both actually are moving forward with doing our egg freezing, which is so exciting. I cannot wait. But we did our blood tests and, you know, just kind of waiting on next steps at this moment.
We did our ultrasound too. Starting the actual process for me though, mine is going to be a little bit delayed and I'll talk about it in another episode when there's a little bit more time because I think a lot of women will be able to relate to it. But yeah, we are doing it, but we're just going to be on different timelines.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a good step. And I think, like you said, we'll talk about it in a later episode of why it was important to us to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. If a couple isn't chosen to be followed, they don't get to go on the trip. Why don't they get picked and filmed?
I think by the trip, they mean the post-pods honeymoon.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like it's less of a budget issue, but more of a screen time issue. Like, you know, for example, on Love is Blind UK, there's 11 couples that got engaged. There are not enough episodes for 11 couples to be followed. And I'm pretty sure that there's a cap on how many episodes they could produce anyways. Mm-hmm. So it just doesn't make sense. Like, I would hate to watch Love is Blind with 11 couples that get like a small amount of screen time. I feel like you can't tell real storylines with that many couples.
No, and you can't get attached to the characters or the people on the show either. I feel like that's why the first couple episodes of every new season, I'm like, okay, like you don't really know them that well, so you're not like very invested, but then towards the end you're like, oh my gosh, I love this person and their character arc.
I mean, I think about it how it was so hard for us to remember the names of all the 6 couples in Love Is Blind UK, and also from like, you know, like the previous Love Is Blind US seasons. I'd be like, okay, what's their name again? Who are they engaged to? What's their partner's name? So I totally understand that they don't follow everyone. I also feel like when it comes to choosing couples, okay, this might be a controversial take, but I think for our season, it came down to like diversity.
Yeah. Storylines plus diversity for sure. Yeah. Because there was drama in the other couples that didn't get followed. There was like love triangles and a lot of conflict there. Yeah. But you're right. I think for us, it came down to just like uniqueness and diversity.
Yeah. Like, do I think that Shane and I were potentially chosen because, well, probably because the Shayna storyline was happening that I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. But also because I was East Asian. Yeah. I think so.
If I chose Kyle, would I be chosen?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think so. I feel like they looked at Kyle and they're like, you're coming through. So I don't know. So I think things like that. But I also think that they try to find like couples they feel like are really, really going to make it, like get married, but also couples that are going to be really messy and like make really good TV.
Exactly. They need the balance of both. They need drama to make a good TV show as well as like actual love stories. And sometimes I do think producers see through like fake people.
Oh, 100%.
And they're like, you're kind of putting on a show for us, and like kind of either cut them or they're like, okay, we'll take you, but like you're not getting a good edit, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that too. I think that sometimes couples aren't shown because someone's not being authentic, and the authenticity is just like, it's so obvious on the camera that they're like,
it's not sellable whatsoever.
I mean, we had someone on our season. I hate saying
that's exactly what I thought of when I said that.
Imagine just watching that on screen. Like, you know, you're just kind of just saying whatever and you're just kind of making up stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just so obvious in person. I was like, I'm sure on camera it's just so obvious too. All right, next question. How do you deal with a toxic person in the friend group?
Ooh, this is a good one because I feel like I've gone through this before. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast, but for our new pod besties, I used to have a best friend who was very toxic, especially to me, actually, and like kind of would use me as her scapegoat to kind of like make herself feel better about life, if that makes sense. And I think honestly, the easiest thing you can do is recognize, first of all, that they are being toxic and you're not gaslighting yourself into thinking that you're the problem. And secondly, to set very clear boundaries with the rest of the friend group, saying like, hey, you know what? I do not want to be in the presence of this person. So I'm going to distance myself in these situations. And in group hangs, like, unfortunately, you're going to have to make the decision like, am I going to be okay hanging out with this person and not allow their toxicity to kind of like seep through into you? If you are able to, then go ahead and hang out with them. But if not, I think you have to distance yourself. And that sucks because distance can get very lonely, but it makes way for new friends, in my opinion.
I know. I would rather have no friends than a toxic friend.
Agreed.
Yeah. And honestly, fuck distancing. Just cut them off.
Yeah.
They don't need an explanation if they're being toxic and don't make you feel good about yourself, because you're supposed to surround yourself with people who make you feel good about yourself, who support you and want the best for you. And if someone's bringing toxicity, cut them off. No explanation needed.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
But I'm a harsh bitch, so I don't know. That's just my advice.
I think it's hard sometimes. It depends on like the closeness that you have with that friend, if that makes sense. You know, like sometimes it's like very difficult to just cut them off completely, but in a lot of situations, that's honestly the move. And the
best move.
My mom always says, you know, if you want to see your future, look at your friends. So
that's true. And I feel like my friends have really great futures. So
yeah,
I'm glad. I like that saying.
What was your guys' relationship like in the pods?
Like the two of us?
The two of us.
So we were friends, but we weren't particularly close. But we actually sat in the same seat row on our way to filming.
Yes. Okay. I remember that so clearly because we both weren't like letting on to why we were there.
Yeah.
And I remember Natalie sitting one person over me in the same row, and she was like taking notes. And I was like,
I was writing in a journal.
I was like, is this a college student? Like, what is she doing? And then I saw you in the bathroom and I was like, hey.
And you're like, why are you here in LA? And I was like, visiting friends.
And then we were both in the same van because we had the same producer.
Yeah.
And I remember we had such a great heart to heart because we were both Asian and we're like, wow, there's so much pressure on us to kind of represent our communities well. I remember all of that.
I do remember that too.
Yeah. And then, but like, yeah, we were friends. But to be fair, I was not close to really anyone from the pods. I feel like I kind of like stayed in my own little bubble. But obviously we got along really well.
Yeah, we got along really well. Same. I would say like all the women, even though we had such a good time together, I don't think anyone was like particularly close.
Yeah.
I didn't even get close to Ayana until the second to last week of filming.
Yeah.
So like we were not close in the pods. She actually disliked me. And then we would constantly see each other in filming locations.
Yeah.
And so I remember one time she texted me, she's like, hey, do you just want to like meet up? I just want to like just like vent and like talk to you. And that's how we got close. But so it was natural that no one was really close. But yeah, you were the first person I saw. And then I think we got close really a year after the show came out.
Yeah. But I do remember even during filming, you were looking out for me because Shane and Shake were so close. And like you would hear things from Shane and you'd be like, would pull me aside and be like, hey, like I need to talk to you.
Yeah. I remember.
So you were looking out for me from the beginning.
Yeah, I remember. And you see it on the show too, where like Shake says like weird stuff to Shane about, you know, his relationship with you. And yeah, I remember being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're like, Deeps, I need to talk
because
to
you were so
immediately.
loyal to Shake, as you should be as his fiance at the time. Yeah. But it was tough because I think, you know, hopefully he's changed. But at the time, I think Shake was just a very, very immature and just kind of an asshole during filming.
Yeah.
Next question. How do I go about being alone? So I have very few friends, no partner, and I'm not dating.
Ooh.
Well, you have us.
Aw.
Always.
That's a hard one because I think in recent years, I've realized that there's a difference between being alone and being lonely, if that makes sense. I think it's okay to be alone and to kind of get new hobbies and, you know, seek out new interests, if that makes sense. Whereas being lonely, I think is like a feeling, like I'm not sure which one it is, but I've always like in my 20s had a partner, and it's only now in the last 2 years that I've like not had a partner. And sometimes it does get lonely, but I think I've learned to enjoy my alone time, place value in knowing that, oh, what if I meet the love of my life in a week? And this is the only time that I have to be alone and to like figure out who I am or do the things that I love before I have to take someone else into consideration. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's hard, but I would say lean on those interests and you know, pick out some new hobbies or go places where you can connect with people if you're looking for new friends.
And if our pod bestie who asked this question is feeling lonely, I mean, I feel like a very normal feeling. I feel lonely sometimes too, especially being, you know, in the same boat. I don't have a partner. I am dating, but you know, it's like very early stages. But just, like Deepti said, like find hobbies you like to do. Find hobbies you don't even think you'll like to do. Just like go out there and like do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I think that slowly you'll meet more people through those hobbies, hopefully, but you will also learn like what you like, dislike, and I don't know, and you just learn to love yourself and love being alone with yourself.
Exactly. Take up pottery like me.
No, guys, I'll do like really crazy things. Like there's did I tell you about this?
No. I don't know. Tell me.
There's like a drawing contest at the Chicago Public Library and I signed up for it.
Wait, I love that. Are you into
And
drawing?
it's like free. No, I'm not. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I feel like I have nothing to do. Well, this was a few weekends ago, but I was like, I have nothing to do this weekend. I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like, why not?
Also, I heard that tennis is the healthiest sport that exists and it'll keep you healthy for like in the long run. And so I was like, I've always played tennis, but I was like, people need to get into tennis.
I know.
It's the best sport ever.
I don't know if I'm wrong in saying this, but isn't tennis an expensive sport?
It is expensive because I used to do like private racket club, and it was definitely it's not cheap. So thank you, parents, for allowing me to do that.
Well, if you can't do tennis because you can't afford it, go to your local public library and sign up for a drawing competition.
No, well, there's public tennis courts. You don't have to join a club. But I do have to say, some of my childhood best friends who I'm still friends with to this day are from tennis. They're not from my high school.
Oh, I love that.
I would say take up tennis.
Next question. Did you guys ever film something that was super embarrassing that was never shown?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What?
I think about this all the time because it haunts me. And I was like, thank God that footage will never be released. But if you remember when we were in Mexico, remember when we played beach volleyball?
Oh, that was the worst day of my life.
Worst day of my entire life. Because first of all, we had been drinking all day and we didn't know that we were going to be filmed that evening.
I had food poisoning during that.
Oh, I forgot.
Or I had a parasite. Like I think I had a parasite.
I do remember you being sick.
Yeah,
but
I was very bloated because I was shitting my brains out every hour. No. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember we were in shambles.
Yeah.
But I specifically remember I was so messed up, like, because we had been taking tequila shots on tequila shots.
Oh my gosh.
And Shake and I had the best time that day, to be honest, but we were lit. And I remember they're like, you need to play beach volleyball. And I sucked at it. I was falling everywhere. And then they made me have that heart-to-heart with Nick. I was like, huh?
Did that ever play? Oh, it did.
It did, but like only a piece of it. And I was like so scared watching it. I was like, oh, please, dear God, no. Don't air more of it. No wonder I was being so honest. Is there a moment for you that you can think of?
There were some scenes that were kind of like scandalous that when I say they made us film.
Shower scene?
Yeah, there was like a shower scene. And then I remember midway, I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, sorry.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I was like the queen of saying no.
Yeah.
When I realized, when I realized you could say no to stuff.
Yeah.
But that I'm glad wasn't shown. There was something that happened on my wedding day. That involved Shane that I'm glad wasn't shown. And I'm not surprised it wasn't shown because it would have been really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say those are the top two.
Yeah, that just gave me PTSD thinking about it. That scene with the Mexico scene. Ooh. I was like, oh God, I'm terrified. Okay, last question. If you guys could do any season of Love is Blind, which one would you go on and why? And let's keep it US.
Oh my gosh, keep it US. Literally none of them.
You have to.
Wow. I would do, let me think about the men on each of these seasons. Okay, actually, I would do Love is Blind season 1 because I feel like it was before they knew it was going to be a really popular show. And I feel like I've talked to some of the men from that season of the broader cast, like before our season came out.
Yeah.
Like some of them reached out being like, oh, we heard you're part of like season 2, like good luck. I just felt like everyone I spoke to from that season 1 broader cast, male wise, was so nice and mature.
Yeah. And they had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
That's like, a good one.
I feel like when I think about the seasons after, I think that I would be a little bit nervous being like, are you here? Like if I choose you and like say yes to your proposal, or you say yes to my proposal, are you going to use me for screen time?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's now a new fear.
No, it is definitely. I think
and it was kind of on our season.
It was like a little bit. I guess I didn't realize how much until after it aired.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like going through it, I didn't expect it to be. And I had no idea that was even like it didn't cross my mind. But I would say I would go on season 7 because I know nothing about it.
Okay. She took the easy way out.
I know. I was like, I'm hopeful for this season. But let's face it, there's not going to be.
Like, I'm going to watch the show as if you could have been on it. Well, those were all of the burning questions. Thanks so much to our pod besties who submitted these. These are really fun to answer.
Yeah, it makes us feel so much closer to you guys, I feel like. So that's always been my favorite segment.
I know it is your
So,
favorite segment.
it really
But
is.
if you guys have any more burning questions, you can always DM us or comment on our YouTube videos or comment on any of our reels or TikToks. Our handle is Out of the Pots.
And make sure you guys leave a review and subscribe.
See you next Wednesday.
But not for long. Bye.